This poem's called Some Wains. I'm interested in the way that higher and lower value are apportioned almost arbitrarily to certain people, certain words, certain social practices. Wane is one of those words that I'm particularly interested in, as that's my name. I went onto Mumsnet once, typed in, should my child be called Wayne? And Mumsnet said no. It shouldn't be called Wayne. No child should be called Wayne. It screams council estate. For me, I've always had to navigate the name Wayne and the social assumptions that come with that. This is a poem in which I attempt to do that in a different way. Some Wains. Magic Wayne with flowers. Wanye West. Box of tricks Wayne. Wayne, sad on Facebook, proving he loves his daughter. The sporty Wayne loves himself skinny. Bold Wayne, head like a rocking chair. Amy Winehouse. Wayne the ironic. Fat Wayne, tits pushed beneath a Fred Perry Wayne. Wayne from near Slough. Ugly Wayne, the unlikely mess of his wife Wayne canned laughter. Wayne, who renamed another Wayne Fleabag. Tracksuited Wayne, your hubcaps, his pockets. Home and away, Randy Wayne, Wayne, fountains of him. Every drop snug to someone's mum. Wayne, boyfriend of Stacey. Wayne Kerr, Wayne the rap star, gold teeth, grime. Wayne the superhero, Wayne the cowboy, dancing Wayne, in tights. It's waning men, a cavalcade of Waynes fucking each other up, in a Jeff Hattersley poem, in a pub, in Barnsley. Purple Wayne, Wayne's World Wayne, Wayne Sleng Teng Smith, a Wayne in a manger. All of them have stopped what they're doing. All of them divided in two rows and facing each other. All of them, arms raised, they are linking fingers, all of them. An architrave through which I celebrate, marching like I'm the bridegroom, grinning like I am the bride. This next poem was written while I was reading for my PhD thesis, which is about representations of working class masculinity. It's called No Worries. Oh yes, the help you need is strapping, for sure. It might, at any time now, pull up outside your door in its mucky white van, man arms flush to the steering wheel. Its muscular weight, the only buoyant thing in your kitchen, in your hallway, and stood upright in itself, full face, a dimple-cheeked, unshaved grin. Almost a caricature in its self-assuredness and, you might imagine, shirtless beneath its coveralls. A well-oiled metal box of fixing tools for fixing. A roll-up behind one ear, it promises itself to you that everything can definitely be sorted, mate. The pieces of it all will be cleaned and fitted back together, good as new, no worries. And you want to believe it will show up this time. At least you're sure of that. So sure you can hear it whistle. This is the last poem in my collection, which also won the Poetry Society Geoffrey Dahmer Prize. Short. The whiskey in my dad's bottle outlasts his body. I should be older than this by now, but the crushing simplicity of your hair. But I'm being played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt in a movie about someone whose dad died. We could rob a bank here, I say in my American voice, and he'd still be dead. But the wind is in our faces and yours looks more masculine in this light. And mine has really quite white teeth and eyelashes. Call me princess, ask me something and laugh, stroke my cheek, my dad is dead, but the upbeat pop soundtrack and you catching glances at boys' tanned legs in slow-moving traffic. Your body whistling through the streets now. Anything about the shape of your face, with your feet naked on a dashboard, riding shotgun, distracted, theorizing bad TV, and armpits a couple of days unshaved. Mine are clean as a whistle, oh God. Crows do not line both sides of the road here. You are so definitely not at work. We've ancient shotguns in the back, oh God, for black comedy, an urn and my dad's ashes. A half bottle of whiskey, oh God, for black comedy. You reach for a shotgun, spot a crow and kill it. Then nothing happens, then nothing happens, then it did. So my introduction to this in my head is about a funny story that the front cover of this collection was, I don't think I should say this, but we were hoping to have a still from a William Wegman for short film of a dog in an overcoat, which the editor of Bloodaxe sent to me and I loved. So inspired by that, I wrote a poem with an image of a dog in it, and then we didn't get the rights to that front cover. So now there's just a poem with an image of a dog in it in my collection. It's the title poem of the collection. It's called Alarum. It's like you're on your complete own, he said, coloured by, how shall I say, some hour when good things like swimming pools are closed off to you. And permanent loved ones, they don't get the nebulae of off-licence, of corner shop is your daylight. You're locked, he said, outside of wholly being alive, a feeling pinned only to the outer body, a person standing unnoticed but too close in the supermarket, a man in the background of a family photo, crossing the road too slow. You're out of step with the common ground and carrying yourself about like a mutt, gone between lampposts, foreign in your overcoat. You're clumping in, then out of shops, not entirely covered up, round a pond in the park for days, and without knowing it, he said, it's almost, how shall I say, as if you have become that mutt, large against your own self and mute under that extra big and human coat you wear. A lone man in a restaurant, picking up, putting down a spoon, somebody smoking a cigarette, then smoking a cigarette, a thumbnail and finger pinching an arm for a long time. Only others forever caught in that same hour recognize you, muteness in overcoats, unseen but seen by each other. This one, he said, I saw borrow scissors from a balloon shop, go outside and burst all its blown up balloons, and she stopped once to know herself in me, as does the one drunk man on the library steps, and the gabbling one, the one swinging punches in the thin dark air. So this next poem was written for my girlfriend, who is a big fan of Tina Turner, randomly, and she was recording her own kind of low-key instrumental version of a particular Tina Turner song. What's Love Got to Do with It? So I took the last words from a few lines in the Tina Turner song and rewrote the poem using those last words. Please understand, almost as if I had the hands and the face and soul of a pig, did I react so strange to the thrill of bacon in your mouth. Oh girl, bite me, bite down hard. I have been so attracted by this sumptuous queerness, your physical threat, your appetite for flesh, the suicide logic of you there, me here in my kitchen, the willing ignorance of 7 steps or 8 steps between us. What's love with its carbohydrate-led emotion, its bread-like quality broken up between bits of bacon in your teeth? My proteinous heart, it's burning in its trotters to get to you. So OCD is a real thing, and I have experienced it, although maybe it's difficult to talk about straight on the money. So I have been thinking about ways of writing regarding that experience without just boring everyone or being slightly woe is me. This is one of my attempts. Everything is always sometimes broken. Like a man who once said or did or thought an awful thing, a single crow fell out my mind and landed at your feet. I couldn't take it back. Some people have crows, it's no big deal. But it's there on the floor, I hoped you wouldn't notice, I couldn't take it back. Swooped to hide the awful thing up my sleeve. I thought I could trust you. It's no big deal. There are people you can even talk to about this on the telephone. There are still so many crows up here, I tell them, and they need feeding, constant attention. Forgive me. There was a time before I spoke of it, I couldn't kiss anyone, or hold a baby, or eat food, tomato pasta, say, or falafel, without addressing first each crow in turn. I don't want to speak about this anymore. Somewhere there is a park where men, some teenagers, some much older than teenagers, are doing chin-ups and sit-ups and running really fast on the spot. Imagine having the strength to move all your body mass like that, crows and all. Whatever light is made of, it's illuminating that crow directly on the floor, and even now holding who we are in its eye. Wait. If you could perhaps take all this and hold it for just a second up to the light, whatever it's made of. If we could be together in the eye of the awful thing, but together. They have a different name for the crows sometimes, but they can't all of them be called that. In parks, people running in vests, walking dogs. Some people can eat and eat all day, then kiss someone. Others are hatching their eyes and nests for it. Some people are trying hard not to let anything out into the daylight. Then, wait, it's no big deal. Okay, so crows don't exist, but they do tell me things. They can't speak English, but give an impression of sorts. Sometimes several all at once. Okay, so telephones don't exist either, but I didn't just make them up. It's just me and you, or just me trying to tell you something. My sleeves are getting full. But this one is another poem using the imagery of crows. I have several of those in this collection that hopefully talk to each other a little bit. The language. One thing I've learned is, if you're asking whether you have the crows again, then you've already got them. They're drawing you into their conversation. If you need to check and then keep checking to articulate this, then they've got you. Can you see in the corner of your eye their heads fallen back, their beaks flapped open and laughing? This is the particular language of the crows. Don't look into their multiple throats, as kind ladies with clipboards have said, as kind men in their cardigans have said. Look at your feet, think feet, do your feet not become hot, itchy? Or your fingers, think fingers, do they not tingle audibly? One thing I've learned is, stare at the freckles on your own face and tell yourself, I like the freckles on my own face, so loud your crows are not visible. Don't open your mouth wide. One thing is, think of the most feel-good pop song, get right inside it and bend its words to mean nothing bad will happen. And sing this all the way to the supermarket. Test the potatoes, like you've seen real people do. Hold them up to the distinguishing light and squeeze. Do not see a glittery wing, do not imagine the head of a body. Instead, become the man who squeezes potatoes, then goes home and cooks them with salt. Occasionally, potatoes will taste of crows. Sing with more volume. So lots of poems in this collection respond to my developing understanding of who I am now in relation to my working class background. My mum having worked in Tesco for most of her life, and my dad having been a builder. And obviously I don't do either of those things, and I wondered how that's affected my identity. I've got a PhD, a double-barrel surname now, and obviously a collection of poems. So does that matter? Does that mean I'm not working class anymore? Working class masculinity is commonly understood and fetishized within a particular way, which is sort of the way that I wrote and parodied in the poem I read earlier called No Worries. There's also elements of working class violence, both symbolic and physical. I came from a violent background and saw lots of violence, but also there's symbolic violence being done within the arena of working class masculinity, men doing that to each other and to their sons and fathers, etc. And also symbolically, violence being enacted upon working class people by what is academically understood as the middle class gaze. Is that enough? Yeah? Sweet.